Yes, yes, I did have the Al-Jama. Now I have the National Freedom Party. I'm joined by Mr. Shaik Emam. Thank you for your time. Your reaction to the speech by the Minister?
Well, let me welcome the presentation by the Minister. Nothing new, I must admit. However, I think we welcome the fact that the Minister has recognized some of the challenges we face in the country that needs urgent attention. We also welcome the fact that he is talking about reducing the debt, which is expected to go to 4.7 trillion. And as you know, he spoke about 358 billion rand a year, which is going to be the debt service cost over the medium term. Now, we welcome his allocation to Denel, particularly with an order book of 12 billion rand guaranteed for Denel. Remember, Denel used to be the pride and joy of this country once upon a time, and we are hoping that he'd be able to turn that around. Again, we want to say that when it comes to state-owned entities, particularly Eskom, the problem with Eskom is that you are talking about a 400 billion rand debt. This can have a negative impact on the country as a whole if they default. And government is left with no alternative but to take part of that debt and settle that. And that's the reason why government wants to do. On the issue of SANRAL again, remember, SANRAL has an expectation that people will be contributing in terms of their tolls, and they have not been doing, but they've incurred the expenditure. And that is why government wants to intervene there. Our concerns are, however, the infrastructure development. Yeah. He's talking about from 68 billion to 112 billion over the medium term. Despite the fact that year in and year out, most of our projects are not implemented timelessly. Yeah. We do not get value for money. Yeah. And corruption and looting is rife. Now, if we don't have the capacity, before you allocate and set aside these resources, you need to ensure that we deal with the issue of capacity. We welcome his intervention as far as local government is concerned, particularly with the capacity at local government. If you saw the AG's report, the damning report on local government, and more importantly, as the NFP, we from time to time raise the concern of corruption and looting them. And we believe that if you can capacitate these people, it clearly indicates that there's something wrong with our educational system. If you got a 60% dropout in the first year, and the qualifications that you have is not good enough for you to perform the duties of which you are expected in some of these government structures. Now, the other issue and concern we have is the minister talks about rolling out police officers to deal with the high levels of crime. And rightfully so, he talks about that crime does not only affect people's lives and livelihood, but also has an economic impact. Particularly if you look at the issue of tourism, people are not going to come into the country. If you look at what happened in Mpumalanga recently. But the important point...
on that matter, sorry to interrupt you, have you seen the news, reports at least that are coming out of the developments at the U.S. Embassy in Sinton of some kind of a terrorist threat there coming out? Have you heard anything around that?
Nothing yet, no. No, I haven't heard that. But on the issue of crime in South Africa, you need a holistic approach. Rolling out 10 and 100,000 police officers are not going to solve the problem. You need to get to the root cause of why are people going into crime. Dysfunctional families. You need to get basic education, you need social development, you need law enforcement to all come together in a coordinated fashion. Identify the problem areas or children that may be coming from dysfunction at a school level. Now, one of the measures that they've had before, where they had safety ambassadors, which they are not doing, but fortunately, the Minister of Social Development has recently alluded to the fact that she's very seriously looking at rolling out more social workers. But you need these ambassadors even at school to identify the problem area. If you remember last year alone, 91,000 school-going children gave birth to children. Now, you can't have 91,000 children giving birth to children and think everything is okay. You need to deal with the socio-economic condition, the high levels of unemployment, the availability of drugs and alcohol in these communities with no recreational facilities, no jobs available to people. You are going to have high levels of crime. Crime goes with unemployment. So what we're saying is you need a holistic approach rather than bringing in more and more police officers. The responsibility of police is to create a safe and secure environment, not to deal with the crime after it is committed, but to prevent the crime. Yeah. Right now they are dealing with crimes after it is committed. So these are some of the concerns that we have. We welcome the fact that he wants to reduce the debt, okay? Because you can't sustain that over a long period of time. We are very concerned that if we continue the way we are, South Africa will find itself at a fiscal cliff where you will not be able to meet your debts.
All right, thank you so much for your time. The NFP giving us reaction, Mr. Shaik Emam. Thank you so much for that.